Big Bad Billy Butcher is back with the boys. Boom. I like this show. This is a good show. It is intense, but extremely tame compared to the comic book, but I still like it. The boys are back in town. There's major trouble for them because when it starts, Huey, Mother's Milk, and Frenchie are all in a detainment camp. They're taking a lot of stuff from the modern day and they're sticking it in there. There's an organization that's going around catching people and throwing them in camps. It's kind of what's happening around now. To start off with, something that made me shake my head and look at the TV like, oh no! Homelander always thought, Homelander knew that the one guy was called MM. They call him MM. He never apparently knew what that stood for until this episode where he finds out his name it stands for Mother's Milk. And, he's got a thing about drinking Mother's Milk. Homelander does in the show. So he goes, you never told me his name MM stood for Mother's Milk. And then he licks his lips and goes, And I'm like, How does that put a thought in your head where you're like, you want to drink a dude? Is it because you're telling them that you like drinking Mother's Milk? What was that? That was just weird. There's a lot of weird things that happen in the show, but that just was weird, and they all kind of looked at him like, what is going on with you? It's interesting. Butcher needs Frenchie because Frenchie can help them refine and test the soup-killing virus. So they need that. So, which now makes me think about something. So they got to break him out. And in order to break him out, they got to break all of the boys out. And Starlight is pretty much like, we're going to, bust the whole camp. We're getting everybody out. So they make a plan to get everyone out. Hey, I hate to interrupt that guy. He's on a roll today. But if you find the time, please hit the subscribe button, maybe hit the like button, and share. Kimiko speaks now, which is very interesting because she says some of the funniest things in the show. But Kimiko speaks now. She learned to speak from watching TikTok videos. So she sounds like a TikToker, a talker of the ticks. The best thing that happened in this episode was they needed to escape the detainment camp, and they tried to get A-Train to help him, and he told them no. But his brother pretty much made him think it was a good idea. During the conversation he's having with his brother, somehow the Deep finds them. They're hidden away somewhere. The Deep finds them, and he shows up, and he doesn't fight A-Train, which is smart, I think, because I think A-Train would slaughter him. I'm almost positive A-Train would slaughter him. A-Train, when his leg was broken, was able to pull a series of train cars. There were at least 5 of them. And he had a rope or a chain or whatever, and he was pulling them with a broken leg. So he's very strong. He's not Homelander strong, but he's way stronger than, most of the other guys. Physically strong. And I'm thinking he's got to be stronger than the Deep, because I never saw the Deep do anything like that. Ride the backs of animals and stuff. But I've never seen him do anything like that. So the A-Train is incredibly strong and ridiculously fast. He's so fast that when he fought Annie, Annie fired lasers at him. Lasers, light, and he was dodging them. So he's fast enough to dodge light in close quarters. And when he shows up, he has his Quicksilver moment. He shows up at the detainment camp right as Homelander is about to laser Huey. He's zapping his laser. And he was like, ah, and everything freezes. And then he starts running. And I'm like, oh, this is his Quicksilver moment. Everything's frozen, and he's like, pluck, pluck. He's doing things. He's pushing people so that when they start moving, it'll be stuff that he set up to happen. Like he takes 2 plugs out of this guy's hand grenades, and when he stops, the dude blows up. He moves Mother Milk out of the way of somebody shooting at him, and he doesn't die. He does all of this before he goes to the laser vision eyes of Homelander. And Homelander's got him by his hand, so he's only like 1.5 feet away from him when he fires his laser eyes. And he does all of these things, saving all of these people. Then he tackles Huey and knocks him on the ground. And I think because he hit Huey and he didn't want to run right through him, he slowed down a lot and he gets hit by the lasers. And he realizes Homelander is going to unalive him, so he takes off. And then, from a Quicksilver moment, they immediately have a Flash Superman moment. Because Homelander is flying, trying to catch him, and A-Train takes off. A-Train's thing, just like the Hulk says Hulk smash or strongest one there is, and Juggernaut says nothing can stop the Juggernaut. The Avengers always scream, Avengers assemble, and all of that kind of good stuff. The Thing says it's clobbering time. A lot of superheroes have catchphrases. A-Train's catchphrase is nothing stops the A-Train. Nothing can catch the A-Train. Pretty sure he says nothing stops the A-Train. But Homelander said nothing catches the A-Train. Now that I think about it, that might have been a little off. But A-Train is taking off and he's running and he's in front of Homelander by yards. Homelander's close enough that he can still see him. And he really wants to catch A-Train. But A-Train's he's pretty fast. And A-Train is running and it doesn't look like Homelander's going to catch him. But it also doesn't look like A-Train is going to, just boom, just take off and Homelander can't catch him. So it looks like whoever, either Homelander gives up the chase or A-Train gets tired, whichever one of those things happens first would be the climax of this particular race. But then a woman who looks a lot like Huey's original girlfriend steps out of a car and she's walking and she gets in the path of A-Train who avoids her and crashes. He trips and goes right through a forest, breaking trees down and everything, and then he's caught. Homelander catches him, and Homelander unalives him, but I'm not positive he's dead at that point. But then later they have a funeral for him, and I've got to assume, they show a closed casket, I've got to assume his body's in there. But just like Mark from Invincible healed after months, A-Train is a lot stronger than people give him credit for. And in the comics, several people, Lamplighter, several people come back from the dead because the V in their body and something else usually brings them back from the dead. That could happen to A-Train, but since this is supposed to be the last season, they could have just figured, it doesn't matter, and gotten rid of him. that would be terrible because it's the first episode. And I'm thinking the first episode, there's plenty of time to bring that dude back. I'm hoping that they do because A-Train was on a redemption arc. It was interesting watching him go from a narcissistic villain to basically a good guy. And I like the character. I like the actor that plays him. I like the way the actor plays the character. But he might be dead because if Homelander tries to kill you, you probably are not going to survive that. And he's fast enough that he actually grabbed Huey one time when Homelander was just about to get him and moved him outside the building before Homelander knew what happened. So I don't really know why he caught. Probably because Homelander was furious and really wanted to catch him. But I hope they bring that character back. There's a rumor that Sam from Supernatural, who is on this season, plays the original speedster for the boys. That would be interesting. I'd like to see what happens with that. So maybe they're going to replace him. But either way, I hope they bring the character back. Billy now has Frenchie, and he's like, "Hey man, you gotta test this virus. We gotta see if it works." There's one soup that they think was nearly as strong as Homelander and nearly as invulnerable. So they figure if they test it on him, then if it works, it'll work on Homelanders, their thought. So they want to test him. This guy's a part of a group called the Team Kicks, and his name is Rock Hard, Rock Solid, Rock Hard. And they go to get him. He's sort of like the Thing. He's made out of like these granite rock pieces. And it turns out that he's like just covered in rocks. He's like instead of being a dude with rocks on him, he's like a mountain. He's like a big, thick, chubby mountain of rock. It turns out that his own personal fluids, I guess I could say it that way, solidify and become rock. So he's been in the basement with his own fluids, and they've solidified around him to the point that he can't move. He can't break through the rocks. So he can't move. So they can't take him away and test it, so they have to test it right there. And it looks like it works. It works on him and a couple other soups that get stuck in that room that they tested. And it works on the newly released Soldier Boy. But here's the thing. There are several different forms of V. There's the original V that only a few people got, Soldier Boy and a few other people, Stormfront. And then there's the second level V, the weakened version that the Americans are using to create soups. There's the 24-hour V that you take it and it gives you power for 24 hours and then you don't have any powers. And then there's the V that they came up with that Billy took that gave him the tentacles. He's pretty much Venom now. So there's several different versions of it. In the trailers, they show that Homelander wanted to get another form of V. Here's my thought. And here's a spoiler. Give me about 30 seconds. He wants this other form of V, which also Godolkin had taken. And this form of V is the purest form, unfiltered. It's what's in Soldier Boy's system. Soldier Boy gets the soup-killing virus on him. And it looks like he's dead. But right at the last instant, he sits up. He just, like the Undertaker, and sits up. So I think it's because he's got the oldest, most pure version of V that it won't kill him. Because with that version of V, he's essentially immortal. He's like early to mid 30s, and he'll stay that way. He's been that way for 20, 30, 40 years. He's never aged. Homelander ages. So he wants to stop his aging, plus he wants a shield from that V. He needs the oldest, purest form. So I think the V that he goes after in the trailer is this. And I think the reason he goes after it is because he finds out that Billy can't kill him with their soup virus. That's going to be interesting. And I think that's going to be a major plot for the rest of the show. But this was good. I enjoyed The Boys. I enjoyed almost every single episode, every single season. I enjoy Gen V. I think I'm going to enjoy the new one with the new season that's coming off the spinoff. I think I'm going to enjoy that. I like the show. I enjoy it. I enjoy it so much that I would give this season of The Boys, man, they shouldn't have killed A-Train. 8 bags of popcorn. 8 bags of popcorn. But that's what I think about that. More importantly, what do you think about that? Now that you had a chance to see the video, let's talk about it some more in the comments. And as always, if you like the video, please like, share, and subscribe.